All right. Good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where it is you're joining us from. Coach Kevin here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Okie doke. First thing I would like to do is share my screen and point out a couple things to you. If you're here for the very first time, or maybe you're watching this as a recording, I want to point out that we have a Facebook group that coincides with our meetup, and it has the same name. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. So we'd invite you to come join us. The way to find us is just to go into your own Facebook account, look where it says search Facebook, and go ahead and type in, I want to be rich, and I do not apologize for it. The other way to find us is to go directly to facebook.com/groups/I want to be really rich. So why would you want to join us? A few different reasons. Reason number one, if we have anything special to announce, usually it will be pinned as you scroll down to the top, any special announcements for the group. Also, as long as I remember to hit the record button, I will have the recordings of these Zoom meetings actually posted in here, sometimes the same day or at least the next morning after it's happened. So for instance, let's say today you're with us, but tomorrow you're not able to make it, but then you're able to come back the next day. Well, this is a good way to go see what you missed and get caught back up. The other thing you can do is if you attended a particular meeting and you thought, man, that was awesome. There was something though that I wanted to go over again, then this is the way you can find it. The other thing is it's a place where you can ask questions outside of the 45 minutes or so we have together Monday through Friday. So you can go into the material and ask questions, and we'll do the best we can to respond to you. All right, next thing I want to share with you is, a second here. What I want to share with you is what it is we're going through at this time. We are going through a book called The Game of Life by Florence Skovel Shinn. The Game of Life by Florence Skovel Shinn. And it is a wonderful book. I happen to own it on Kindle. I also own it on Audible. However, a lot of times when we're going through material, if I can find a free copy for you guys, I do that. And I was able to find a free copy. I found one that I like better than the rest of them. And it happens to be this one down here. So that's what I typed in. And then in my search, I checked some of them out. And I like this one the best. So I went ahead and clicked right here, and what popped up for me is this. And then what I did is I scrolled down, read a little bit here, but then scrolled down to the bottom, and bam, I chose PDF. And then when I clicked on it, it did not ask me for name or email or anything like that. It just brought me to here. Now, it didn't bring me to page 58. It brought me to page 1 of the PDF file. But this is page 58 of the PDF file. And the reason we're here is that's where we left off yesterday, okay? But so that you could have your own copy if you like, maybe this is your first time with us and you're wanting to get caught up. This is a good way to go do that. Now, if you don't want to do it right this moment, that's fine. I'm going to continue to share my screen with you guys, okay? And as we go through this, but why did we choose this book? We've been together now since November 5th, going through different materials. And specifically, the purpose of what we've been doing is to help you manifest more money and wealth into your life. Okay, that's the purpose of the meetup group. But that does not mean that the things that you've been learning won't help you manifest other wonderful things in your life, like potentially better health or better relationships and whatnot. So what has happened is we have now seen the formula for getting rich. We have now seen how our mind works. We've now come to know better who we are through some of what we've gone through. And right now, what has happened is some of you said, okay, well, I know I need to reprogram myself. And I should use affirmations. I should use what Napoleon Hill refers to as auto-suggestion. I should put the programming into my subconscious mind that I want and quit being a creature of habit and being subjected to the programming that's already in there, because what's in there is getting in the way of me getting what I want. But I don't know necessarily what to say or how to word it. So the reason we chose this book is because Florence Skovel Shinn does a phenomenal job of sharing different affirmations and ways to utilize auto suggestion and the specific words to use. What I also like is she shares specifically the stories of the people who use them. So you can see in practicality what it was they were facing at the time, and then what they used to change their programming and overcome that. Okay. So that's why we chose this book. That's why we're going through it right now. So what I'm going to do is start reading where we left off yesterday. So here's how we function. You are going to have your opportunity to speak if you like to, and to share what you would like to. Okay. However, that's going to be what we do is we tend to leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end for you to do that. So if you have any questions you want to bring up, just write it down and hold on to it for a moment. Maybe it'll get answered before we even get to it, that point, just by something that we go through, or maybe some commentary that I share while we're going through this. But if you have any questions that you would like to ask, you will get your opportunity. It'll just be at the right time. Because if you're typing them into chat, I'm not going to see them, okay? I don't pay attention to that while we're doing what we're doing. But again, we leave 10, 15 minutes for you to ask those questions and get the answers, and also to share other things in relationship to what you're learning, what you have learned, and your experiences manifesting what you want in your life, okay? What I'm going to do right now is get a sip of water and jump on in where we left off yesterday. Perfect self-expression or the divine design. No wind can drive my bark astray or change the tide of destiny. There is for each man perfect self-expression. There is a place which he is to fill and no one else can fill. Something which he is to do, which no one else can do. It is his destiny. This achievement is held, a perfect idea in divine mind, awaiting man's recognition. As the imaging faculty is the creative faculty, it is necessary for man to see the idea before it can manifest. So man's highest demand is for the divine design of his life. And when we're talking about man, this book was written a long time ago, obviously referring to man or woman, okay? Florence Skovel Shinn is not with us any longer, and this is the way people wrote at the time. So if that, hopefully that's not offensive, but just wanted to point out why it's written the way it's written. He may not have the faintest concept of what it is, for there is possibly some marvelous talent hidden deep within him. His demand should be, Infinite Spirit, open the way for the divine design of my life to manifest. Let the genius within me now be released. Let me see clearly the perfect plan. The perfect plan includes health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. This is the square of life, which brings perfect happiness. When one has made this demand, he may find great changes taking place in his life, for nearly every man has wandered from the divine design. I know in one woman's case, it was as though a cyclone had struck her affairs, but readjustments came quickly and new and wonderful conditions took the place of old ones. Perfect self-expression will never be labor, but of such absorbing interest that it will seem almost like play. The student knows also, as man comes into into the world financed by God, the supply needed for his perfect self-expression will be at hand. Many a genius has struggled for years with the problem of supply when his spoken word and faith would have released quickly the necessary funds. For example, after the class one day, a man came to me and handed me a cent. He said, I have just 10 cents in the world, and I'm going to give you one. For I have faith in the power of your spoken word. I want you to speak the word for my perfect self-expression and prosperity. I spoke the word and did not see him again until a year later. He came in one day, successful and happy, with a roll of yellow bills in his pocket. He said, immediately after you spoke the word, I had a position offered me in a distant city and am now demonstrating health, happiness, and supply. A woman's perfect self-expression may be in becoming a perfect wife, a perfect mother, a perfect homemaker, and not necessarily in having a public career. Demand definite leads, and the way will be made easy and successful. Let me repeat this. Demand definite leads, and the way will be made easy and successful. And we went over yesterday what we mean by demand, okay? One should not visualize or force a mental picture. Let me repeat that. One should not visualize or force a mental picture. When he demands the divine design to come into his conscious mind, he will receive flashes of inspiration and begin to see himself making some great accomplishment. This is the picture or idea he must hold without wavering. The thing man seeks is seeking him. The telephone was seeking Bell. The thing man seeks, the thing man or woman seeks is seeking him or her. Parents should never force careers and professions upon their children. With a knowledge of spiritual truth, the divine plan can be spoken for early in childhood or prenatally. A prenatal treatment should be, let the God in this child have perfect expression. Let the divine design of his mind, body, and affairs be made manifest throughout his life, throughout eternity. God's will be done, not man's. God's pattern, not man's pattern. It is the command we find running through all the scriptures. And the Bible is a book dealing with the science of the mind. It is a book telling man how to release his soul or subconscious mind from bondage. The battles described are pictures of man waging war against mortal thoughts. A man's foes shall be they of his own household. Every man is Jehoshaphat, and every man is David, who slays Goliath, mortal thinking, with the little white stone, faith. So man must be careful that he is not the wicked and slothful servant who buried his talent. There is a terrible penalty to be paid for not using one's ability. Often fear stands between man and his perfect self-expression. Stage fright has hampered many a genius. This may be overcome by the spoken word or treatment. The individual then loses all self-consciousness and feels simply that he is a channel for infinite intelligence to express itself through. He is under direct inspiration, fearless and confident, for he feels that it is the Father within him who does the work. I love that. He or she is under direct inspiration, fearless and confident, for he or she feels that it is the Father within him or her who does the work. A young boy came often to my class with his mother and asked me to speak the word for his coming examinations at school. I had told him to make the statement, I am one with infinite intelligence. I know everything I should know on this subject. He had an excellent knowledge of history, but was not sure of his arithmetic. I saw him afterwards, and he said, I spoke the word for my arithmetic and passed with the highest honors, but thought I could depend upon myself for history and got a very poor mark. Man often receives a setback when he is too sure of himself, which means he is trusting to his personality and not the Father within. Okay, let's go with this again. Repetition, mother of learning. A young boy came often to my class with his mother and asked me to speak the word for his coming examinations at school. I told him to make the statement, I am one with infinite intelligence. I know everything I should know on this subject. He had an excellent knowledge of history, but was not so sure of his arithmetic. I saw him afterwards, and he said, I spoke the word for my arithmetic and passed with the highest honors, but I thought I could depend on myself for history and got a very poor mark. Let that sink in. Man or woman often receives a setback when he or she is too sure of him or herself, which means he or she is trusting in his or her personality and not the Father within. Another one of my students gave me an example of this. She took an extended trip abroad one summer, visiting many countries where she was ignorant of the languages. She was calling for guidance and protection every minute, and her affairs went smoothly and miraculously. Her luggage was never delayed nor lost. Accommodations were always ready for her at the best hotels, and she had perfect service wherever she went. She returned to New York, knowing the language. She felt God was no longer necessary, so looked after her affairs in an ordinary manner. Everything went wrong. Her trunks delayed amid inharmony and confusion. The student must form the habit of practicing the presence of God every minute. In all thy ways, acknowledge him. Nothing is too small or too great. Sometimes an insignificant incident may be the turning point in a man's life. Robert Fulton, watching some boiling water simmering in a tea kettle, saw a steamboat. I have seen a student often keeping back his demonstration through resistance or pointing the way, making up their own mind instead of letting God help them. He or she pins their faith to one channel only and dictates just the way he or she desires the manifestation to come, which brings things to a standstill. My way, not your way, is the command of infinite intelligence. Like all power, be it steam or electricity, it must have a non-resistant engine or instrument to work through. And man is that engine or instrument. Over and over again, man is told to stand still. O Judah, fear not, but tomorrow go out against them, for the Lord will be with you. You shall not need to fight this battle. Set yourselves, stand ye still, and see the salvation of the Lord with you. We see this in the incidents of the $2,000 coming to the woman through the landlord when she became non-resistant and undisturbed, and the woman who won the man's love after all suffering had ceased. The student's goal is poise. Poise is power, for it gives God power a chance to rush through man, to will and to do its good pleasure. Poised, he thinks clearly and makes right decisions quickly. He never misses a trick. Anger blurs the vision, poisons the blood, is the root of many diseases, and causes wrong decision leading to failure. It has been named one of the worst sins, as its reaction is so harmful. The student learns that in metaphysics, sin has a much broader meaning than in the old teaching. Whatsoever is not of faith is sin. He finds that fear and worry are deadly sins. They are inverted faith, and through distorted mental pictures brings to pass the thing he fears. His work is to drive out these enemies from the subconscious mind. When man is fearless, he is finished. Maeterlinck says that man is God afraid. So, as we read in the previous chapters, man can only vanquish fear by walking up to the thing he is afraid of. When Jehoshaphat and his army prepared to meet the enemy, singing praise to the Lord, for his mercy endureth forever, they found their enemies had destroyed each other and there was nothing to fight. For example, a woman asked a friend to deliver a message to another friend. The woman feared to give the message, as the reasoning mind said, don't get mixed up in this affair, don't give that message. She was troubled in spirit, for she had given her promise. At last, she determined to walk up to the lion and call on the law of divine protection. She met the friend to whom she was to deliver the message. She opened her mouth to speak it when her friend said, so-and-so has left town. This made it unnecessary to give the message, as the situation depended upon the person being in town. As she was willing to do it, she was not obliged to do it. As she did not fear, the situation vanished. The student often delays his demonstration through a belief in incompletion. He should make this statement. In divine mind, there is one completion. Therefore, my demonstration is completed. My perfect work, my perfect home, my perfect health. Whatever he demands are perfect ideas registered in divine mind and must manifest under grace in a perfect way. He gives thanks he has already received on the invisible and makes active preparation for receiving on the visible. Let me repeat that. He gives thanks he has already received on the invisible and makes active preparation for receiving on the visible. One of my students was in need of a financial demonstration. She came to me and asked why it was not completed. I replied, perhaps you are in the habit of leaving things unfinished, and the subconscious has gotten into the habit of not completing. As the without, so the within. She said, you're right. I often begin things and never finish them. I'll go home and finish something I commenced weeks ago, and I know it will be symbolic of my demonstration. So she sewed assiduously, and the article was soon completed. Shortly after, the money came in a most curious manner. Her husband was paid his salary twice that month. He told the people of their mistake, and they sent word to keep it. When man asks, believing, he must receive, for God creates his own channels. I've been sometimes asked, suppose one has several talents. How is he to know which one to choose? Demand to be showed definitely. Say, Infinite Spirit, give me a definite lead. Reveal to me my perfect self-expression. Show me which talent I am to make use of now. I've known people to suddenly enter a new line of work and be fully equipped with little or no training. So make the statement, I'm fully equipped for the divine plan of my life, and be fearless in grasping opportunities. Some people are cheerful givers, but bad receivers. They refuse gifts through pride or some negative reason, thereby blocking their channels, and invariably find themselves eventually with little or nothing. For example, a woman who had given away a great deal of money had a gift offered her of several $1,000s. She refused to take it, saying she did not need it. Shortly after that, her finances were tied up, and she found herself in debt for that amount. Man should receive gracefully the bread returning to him upon the water. Freely ye have given, freely ye shall receive. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this paragraph. This is important stuff. Very important. Some people are cheerful givers, but bad receivers. So some of you guys have wanted to, receive things into your life, like maybe coaching, but you're happy to give and help other people, but not willing to actually ask for help. Or if it's offered to you, you reject it. They refuse gifts through pride or some negative reason, thereby blocking their channels, and invariably find themselves eventually with little or nothing. For example, a woman who had given away a great deal of money, okay? So this was a generous person. For example, a woman who had given away a great deal of money, it doesn't say a little money, a great deal of money, had a gift offered her of several $1,000s. She refused to take it, saying she did not need it. Shortly after that, her finances were tied up, and she found herself in debt for that amount. Man and or woman should receive gracefully the bread returning to him or her upon the water. Freely ye have given, freely ye shall receive. There is always the perfect balance of giving and receiving. And though man should give without thinking of returns, he or she violates the law if he or she does not accept the returns which come to him or her. For all gifts are from God, him or her, man or woman, being merely the channel. A thought of lack should never be held over the giver. For example, when the man gave me that 1 cent, I did not say, poor man, he cannot afford to give me that. I saw him rich and prosperous, with his supply pouring in. It was this thought which brought it. If one has been a bad receiver, he must become a good one, and take even a postage stamp if it is given to him, and open up his channels for receiving. The Lord loveth a cheerful receiver as well as a cheerful giver. I have often been asked why one man is born rich and healthy and another poor and sick. Where there is an effect, there is always a cause. There is no such thing as chance. This question is answered through the law of reincarnation and goes through many births and deaths until he knows the truth, which sets him free. And I'll share my own personal thought. I don't necessarily know that we go through reincarnation, okay? I think we go through stages of progression, and we progress from plane to plane, okay? And what it is that we had done prior is it created thoughts and feelings, which result in thoughts and feelings create words and actions. And I believe we had the ability to act and to make choices even before we came here. Now, you could agree with me or disagree, but those are just my thoughts and my beliefs. So the question is answered through the law of reincarnation. Man goes through many births and deaths until he knows the truth, which sets him free. He is drawn back to the earth plane through unsatisfied desire, to pay his karmic debts, or to fulfill his destiny. The man born rich and healthy has had pictures in his subconscious mind, in his past life, of health and riches, and the poor and sick man of disease and poverty. Man manifests on any plane the sum total of his subconscious beliefs. However, birth and death are man-made laws, for the wages of sin is death. The Adamic fall in consciousness through the belief in two powers, the real man, spiritual man, is birthless and deathless. He never was born and has never died. As he is in the beginning, he is now and ever shall be. So, in other words, we have always existed. Again, I believe we're going through progression. So, through the truth, man is set free from the law of karma, sin, and death, and manifests the man made in his image and likeness. Man's freedom comes through fulfilling his destiny, bringing into manifestation the divine design of his life. His Lord will say unto him, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things." Death itself. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord, eternal life. Okay, denials and affirmations. Where are we at? Well, now is a good time to stop. And hey, some people joined us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have all of you here with us. Probably what some of you noticed today, okay, and since you're here, it doesn't matter as much as those who aren't, is I did not send out the reminder that I've been sending every day. And let me tell you why. The reason I didn't send it out, a couple reasons. Reason number one, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I am now in the process of working with our group coaching. And I do that from 8:30 to 9:30 my time. And this Zoom call starts at 10 o'clock my time. So I didn't have the time to do it. The other thing is, when you originally registered for the meeting, you registered for all the meetings. So you don't have to go re-register. And I don't know, since I've been here every single Monday through Friday, except for one Thursday, and I did let you guys know a few days ahead of time, and I did send out a cancellation of that meeting explaining, I don't think that I need to have to tell you that I'm going to be here Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock my time and whatever time it is your time. So just don't expect me to send out reminders anymore. Just do what you did. Just show up. Obviously, the link works and it will continue to work. I see, though, that by not doing that, we're probably short anywhere from 5 to 8 people. That's okay. I also believe in law of attraction and that those who are meant to be here today will be here. Also, we record this and put this into the Facebook group so you can follow up with this. So I just wanted to share why I'm not going to be sending that out. I have to do it manually. I have to go into Zoom and I can't select you all at once and send the reminder. I can only select like 5 or 6 of you at a time. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to do that. And I'm just not going to do that any longer. We're getting too big and you guys know I'm going to be here and you can trust that I will be here. If someday I'm not, that means something I probably gave you a heads up and maybe you missed it. But I am pretty consistent in what I do. So just wanted to share that with you. I'm grateful those of you who are with us are with us. Glad to have you with us. And we may even have somebody new here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So what we're going to do at this point is this is the sharing and question. This is our Q&A side. So questions and answers and also sharing. So what you're able to share, anything in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life that you've been able to successfully manifest and do, that would be great to share with us. Even if it's not money or wealth specifically, if you've had some successes in manifesting things that you want in your life, feel free to share those stories. Also, from what we've been learning, we've been going since November 5th. So anything that you've learned that you'd like to share with us, or anything that maybe ahas that stuck out to you from what we've gone through today. And then the other part, questions. So questions related to what? Anything in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life is fair game for questions, and anything related to what we studied today or what we've studied in the past. All righty, so that's the way it rolls. What you do is you just come off of mute and start sharing what you want to share or asking whatever question you want to ask, and we'll just take you in the order that you do that. So at this point, it's your time, so go ahead. Thank you.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Rika.
No, it's Francine.
Oh, she was up there for a second. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. We'll take both of you whenever you're ready. Go, Francine.
Okay. Well, I want to share that a long time ago, in 1996, I wanted to be very, very successful in my new real estate career at that time, and I wanted to be very successful, not just financially, but with my clients, helping people and all that. And I really, really put it in my head. I drove it in my head. I had such willpower to achieve. And I was very successful. And I'm just reminiscing on all that yesterday evening. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I want to do now? Because actually life threw me a loop and basically derailed me from all that by making me move, by having me go through a divorce and all that. So, and then starting all over in my real estate career here in North Carolina. And I was in Northern Virginia before. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, what am I going to do next? What do I really, really, really want other than having lots of money again, you know? So today's reading is telling me exactly what to do.
Isn't that cool?
I have to put it in the hands of the infinite intelligence and say, okay, how else can I use my talents to help other people and to be very successful? Because I've kind of been feeling like I'm in a limbo. I'm a kind of in between places. And I think on a private conversation you and I had, I told you that I felt like I was on one side of a ridge and there's a bridge and I wanted to go across the other side. Well, now I know what that represents too. I've been on that bridge for too long. So this reading today comes up at the opportune time. It's perfect. So thank you for picking it.
You're welcome. I'm glad it's having that impact for you. That's awesome to hear. Thanks.
Yeah, now all I have to do is meditate and pray, and I'm sure the answers will come. So thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Very welcome.
Hi, Kevin. This is Karen.
Karen. Yeah, hi, Karen.
I just wanted to say, when they talked about, asking for help, I grew up when you weren't supposed to ask for help. You were supposed to be independent. And actually, my parents always said, you don't tell anybody outside what goes on inside the family and stuff like that, right? Yep. So for the longest time, I never asked anybody for help. I just figured it out on my own, or it didn't happen. But then all of a sudden it occurred to me, and I use this approach now, that when you ask other people, it's not just that they're helping you, but it gives them a chance to feel good about themselves. Yes. And so you're actually doing a positive thing by asking somebody else for help. And since I've changed my attitude about that, I ask for help all the time. I don't always get it, but I ask. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation. Then the fact that if I get something, I always feel like it's a gift from God, like he's rewarding me for something I did right, maybe.
There you go. Well, we know where it did come from, huh? You know what I would say? Let me take that thought just a little bit differently, okay?
Okay.
Just a little bit. It absolutely 100% comes from God, okay?
Yes.
Because of something you did good. Okay, let's change that part. Here's why I say change that, okay?
I knew you wouldn't like that.
Well, it's not me. It's actually how it works.
Uh-huh.
Okay, in the sense, because what we do when we do that, we're going, you and I as human beings, every single one of us on this Zoom call, we're gonna screw up, okay? Because we haven't figured it out yet. We're in a process of unfolding and becoming and learning and growing and progressing. So we're gonna screw up from time to time. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna do things we know we ought not to do. If you're thinking that you're being given gifts from God because you did something good, then that tells me at a subconscious level, you're also thinking to some point, when you do things wrong and screw up, something bad may happen to you also.
That's true.
Right? So there's always the two sides of this. So I would just say, Karen, here's why God gives to you. Because you asked. And I'm not saying every single day you ask specifically for every little thing that happens, okay? What I'm saying is you put yourself into a particular vibration, you ask, that vibration is one of faith, that is of expectation in a good way, not the expectation like, not entitlement per se, but expectation of, well, because it's available and possible and God can do anything and everything. If I ask for that, then of course it can happen. Therefore, it should happen, not because I did anything special, not even because I don't qualify for it. My only way to qualify for anything is to put myself in the right vibration by using my agency that God did give me to choose what it is that I want my life to be like. And we can choose that as a general overall. We can also choose it as individual things on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, yearly, and whatnot. So you're 100% correct. The stuff, everything does, all the good is coming from God. But it's not coming because this is how school treats us, right? But
yes.
What about the silly student that, they got 18 stars on the chart for math and the other student got 6? But the student that got 18 stars for math didn't have to put forth a whole lot to get 18 stars. The other kid that did 6, it was unbelievable what they had to do to get their 6 stars. But if we add those stars up and say, well, 18 is 3 times 6, so you get more prizes. You got more tickets when you went to the arcade, and you got more tickets, therefore you get a bigger prize because you get, no. God will give you what you ask for as long as you actually allow him to do it.
I like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
I knew you'd say that. I just knew it.
Okay. Well, cool. Then we're all on the same page, hopefully. Anybody else, questions or comments? Rika, did you have something earlier? Did we scare you away?
No, I really didn't.
Okay.
I think my mic came up. But you know what, Kevin? You know what I'm doing, and we are trying. The team is doing Facebook marketing, in Messenger.
Okay.
And so I said, Rika, you need to do it because I'm a dialer. I connect with people really well on the phone.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, just take it to Facebook and start following that, because if people come in, they won't want to dial. Most people don't, but they'll probably be willing to do that. So you'll need to teach it to them. So I decided, okay. So yesterday, I sent out 17 Facebook messages.
Okay.
And this morning I went on Facebook and one man responded, kicked my butt. I mean, my butt. Who are you? What do you want? What? And, you know, I do the little message that everybody is sending out. What do you want? What's your rank? How did he say it? How much time are you willing to invest in me? And I'm like, what? So I almost felt like, lie, Rika. But I just responded, and I can't remember exactly how I responded. And I told him I saw what he wrote in his, you know, where you see underneath people's bio, they'd make it. And he said he loves MLM. He really believes in it. I thought, I want to reach out to this person. I don't just reach out to everybody. I try to reach out to people that I might connect with. And I told him that. I saw what you said, that you love network marketing, and I wanted to reach out to you and introduce you to this to see if this would be an opportunity you might want to take a look at. That's it. And he came back again. Well, you haven't answered my question. What's your rank? What kind of time investment are you willing to put into me? And so I almost repeated it in different words. And then he tells me he's got 30 years of experience in network marketing, and what can I offer? What's my company? And so I told him the company, and I said, well, what I can offer you is to introduce you to my sponsor, who's blah, 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 and you'll find him all over the internet. He has 40 years of experience. He might be the better person for you to talk to if you want to examine this opportunity. Was that a bad thing to say?
Sounded fine. I mean, it's fine with me. I'm just following your story for now. So
yeah, well, he turned around and kicked me again. Same thing. What's your rank? What are you willing to invest in me? So I just said, you know what, Patrick?
Forrest Gump, a box of chocolate. I'll invest a box of chocolate into your happiness. How's that?
Well, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I just finally said, Patrick, you sound like you're in real fight mode, and I'm not. I really just wanted to introduce you to an opportunity. If you're experienced and you're actually looking for something, this might be an opportunity that you can run with. Yeah. So if you're not interested, I don't want to waste your time, and nor do I want to waste mine. A simple yes or no would suffice. Yeah. I haven't heard back from him. I'm almost tempted to call him just for.
No.
I know. But I was thinking, Rika, this might be a good experience for you.
Has it been so far?
No, I mean, to learn how to, to learn how to talk with people that approach that,
sure.
It.
So when somebody comes at you combatant, okay, think of law of attraction, first of all, and that's okay. You don't have to go through all this. There's something you did to attract it. I don't know specifically what it was. We could probably figure it out if I spend enough time with you. But here's what I would say in that scenario. Just go, you know what? A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And there's probably not something I could say today that would matter. Hopefully sometime in the future, this guy has a different experience. But for me, I'm going to move on and attract. I'm going to now go take a pad of paper and say, hey, dear God, however you pray, hey, dear Heavenly Father, I had experience with so-and-so. I recognize that it didn't make me feel particularly good. Probably didn't make him feel good either. You know what? I enjoy working with X, type of a person. Write out your ideal person that you like to work together with and say, you know what? Connect me with the people that are right for me and I'm right for them. What's for my highest and best good and greatest joy, prosperity, and abundance. And help me let everything else go.
Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're rarely, think of it this way, okay, since we just had this happen. Take the biggest Trump hater and the biggest Trump lover and put them in a room. And what are really the chances that somebody's going to walk out of the room and change their opinion?
Yeah. It just kind of surprises me. I also had another experience the other day. I'm looking for work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I thought there's not much going on here. I've looked all over the place to see if there's something I can do just to generate a little bit of cash flow.
Uh-huh.
And then I thought, well, let me see what's going on online. And I found this place, Writer Works. And I thought, let me check that out. And so I went there, and it wasn't what I thought, but I did click all over the place, and I found people's bios. I guess they're able to put their own advertisement on there. And I saw one guy that's a copywriter, and he trained with AWAI and stuff like that. And I thought, I kind of like, I want to touch base with him. So I went to Facebook and I found him. I'm kind of getting a little braver as I go along.
Okay.
And I just reached out to him, and he came at me very suspicious too. And basically he said, because I'm under the radar. And, you know, I said, well, I'm under the radar because this, and I'm new to Facebook. I literally just really joined Facebook a few months ago. And the only reason I did was because that's where the team has their groups going on. And if I want to be part of the group and know what's going on, I had to join Facebook. So I really never did anything with it. I just joined.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am under the radar. But he actually, I explained to him what I'm doing and what I'm looking for, what a little bit of my reporting background is. And I told him I just was hoping that I can connect with another copywriter, with a copywriter that can maybe give me guidance. Rika, no, don't go that direction. Or, yeah, this is a good thing to do. You know, someone that has experience, hindsight, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think he kind of came around, but it was also a suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that I can change in my approach so people don't feel so suspicious?
Yeah. I'm positive there is. But I would say, okay, let me take all of you as an example, just for fun. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been excited when you saw the meetup, but until you showed up once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, however many times, didn't you kind of sort of wonder who's this Kevin dude and what's he really about?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't know me. Because at that point you hadn't received any value. There was no reason for you to, I mean, unfortunately we do this, but we all make automatic judgments at the beginning. Occasionally those judgments are changed as time goes on. Sometimes they're correct, sometimes they're incorrect. But so far at this point, right, if first day I'm just some stranger, 3 months later I'm a friend. Hopefully you kind of get that. So what do you do when you're out there meeting people and you don't know, you have to go about it differently with the intention to offer value before you ask for stuff. And I don't know if you were the one, I forget, somebody asked at one point about networking, and I gave the recommendation of a book. It's called 7L, the 7 Levels of Communication, by, I can see his face. He and I have talked with each other a few times. Michael Mayer.
I know his last name is Mayer. Oh, sorry, Kevin.
Yeah, Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
How do you spell that, Kevin, his last name?
I believe it's Maher, but phenomenal book on networking, but it goes a different path than almost anything I've ever seen.
Okay.
And it leads with value, and it's also, well, I say but, I shouldn't, but it leads with value, and it also is, if you can catch the concept, it's very strategic in helping you increase your sphere of influence, not just by number, but by influence. I was going to say quality, but really by influence, because no one human being is more important than another human being. The other thing I would say is if you're looking to learn more about copywriting, which maybe you are, maybe you aren't, a place to go find some good information about that is a website called the Warrior Forum. And they have many discussion forums in there. A lot of it's about internet marketing, what people talk about. However, if you go through the forum, there's a whole section. There's offline marketing, would be pretty much anything not internet. There's also a section there for copywriting and people that are asking questions and sharing advice and experiences and stuff like that. So those are two sources that I can direct you to that could help you learn more about copywriting, but also help you learn how to connect with people in such a way that you're offering value first versus asking for something from somebody who, at least at this point in their mind, is a total stranger. And because we all have gotten spammed and whatnot in our emails, in our texts, probably even, all these silly people wanting to connect with us through social media that are from somewhere that we don't know who they are or what they're about. Most people will put up a wall, not because they're bad people. It's just first reaction. Nobody walks, I shouldn't say nobody, but probably 100 out of 1,000, maybe one does. People don't walk onto a car dealership lot and tell the truth.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, you all lie. Okay.
I do.
We all lie. It's our defense mechanism until we figure out if we're safe or not.
I guess withholding can be lying by withholding. Oftentimes, I'm not going to tell you every detail about my life, and you're not going to tell me, and I don't ask for that. And I'm using everything exactly the way the team is using it, because I don't know. I can work on the phone and do my own scripting and everything, and I get a really good reception. But I don't know how and this is kind of weird coming from a reporter, right? I don't know how to do it in the written format.
You know what? So yes, I know you'll have team members that are going to want to use different ways that fit and suit them. Find people within your team, within your upline, within the right type of cross line. Okay, every business is a little different, but find people that are good at that and say, hey, I will help train people to do this if you'll help people to train this as we sign them up. Because you're good at this and I'm good at this. Mm-hmm. When you play professional sports out there, I like NBA basketball. LeBron James and Steph Curry both do very well and they both win games. But you watch them play, they play the game totally differently. But they both win, usually. I mean, yeah, there's a team around them. If they both have nobody around them that's any good, it's tough. Steph Curry's fighting that this year. But if everybody had the same team around them, and now it's basically the difference is just the one player, they both tend to win most of the time when they've got a good team around them, but they personally play the game differently. So you don't have to all play the game the same way to win the game.
I would love to do that. I've done it before in the past where I did the training for people that wanted to do some dialing.
Yeah.
I loved it. The only thing I didn't love about it was that it was 5 o'clock my time, 5 a.m. But I loved it. I wouldn't mind if that would come about, that I can do that and do a little training with people.
Awesome.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Well, cool. See what you can do. I've given you some ideas. I've given you some resources. Obviously God's got more for you than I do. So you can always ask, you can always get a direct line.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah. But hopefully this stuff helps you out a bit.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Hi, Kevin. It's Takira. I won't take up too much time. I just wanted to tell you what happened with the lady, my neighbor that I had brought up last week.
Yeah.
I had been doing some positive thinking about her and saying I forgive her. I'm not going to hold that against her. and I felt led to buy some Lint's chocolate, like a Valentine's Day pouch.
Yeah.
So I went and I wrote her name. I wrote like Happy Valentine's Day, Miss Jackie, and I left it right at her door. So this was yesterday, and so right before this Zoom, she knocked on my door, or someone knocked at the door, and when I went to see who it was, it was her, and she's this little short white lady, and she's like, "This is some mail for you," and then I said, "Oh, it's not mine, but thank you," and then she's like, "Thank you so much for the chocolate." And I said, "Oh, you're welcome. Do you like chocolate?" And she says, "Yes, I love it." I said, "Well, hold on. I have some Russell Stovers." So I brought her a big fresh box of more chocolates. And she's like, "You didn't have to do that. I don't have any teeth." I said, "Well, just use what you got." I said, "You use what you have." And she's like, "You're so sweet. Thank you." And then she said, "I'm sorry that this is not your mail." But I said, I felt in that moment that she thought, when she was saying "I'm sorry," I think she was saying it about what I heard. And I think she felt, she said it like indirectly, but her heart was just speaking to me. And I felt like, that wouldn't have happened had I not forgiven her and gave that chocolate to her, because that mail could have been mine. It could have been a check, and she was compelled to do that for me because I changed my whole vibration of her. And I just like sent her light. I didn't harbor negativity. I just said, okay, what can I do to make this woman, feel happy? And I'm a Black woman, and she won't see, hopefully, Black people the same. And she was just so tender, and I felt like it was just good. It works when you seriously, like, open up to people, and even if they hurt you, they don't mean to. And if they do, we have a control of how we're going to respond, and it's going to affect how I live. So if I want to have a happy neighborhood, I can't be harboring negative emotions. So I think it's amazing that this book can like do that for me, because I'm like usually the opposite, where I'm like, I don't like it, I'm over it. But it changed me a lot, and plus I had too much chocolate anyway, so it felt good to give some away. But I do want to ask a question. I'm sorry to be so silly. I just made my Mercedes-Benz savings fund. But as we're talking, this is hogwash, because it's saying that it's my way, right? I'm saying I have to save for this.
Well, was it inspired? It depends.
Yes, it was inspired, Kevin. Something said get up and save.
Then do it.
Then do it? All right, cool, because I'm about to break it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But then that means for everybody else, that doesn't mean everybody because,
right.
And the importance of this is let God in the universe direct, especially that first, that first movement, because they've had me do things that if you were to do those things, it may not work out the same for you because of what was going on at the time. I could even try and repeat some of the things I've done, and they won't turn out the same as they did back then, because of what was going on and where I was at the time. So that's why we don't want to get all locked into this is this fine line where all the good comes to me. We want to be like as many channels, if it comes in from behind, it hits me in the back.
Yeah.
If it's good, it happened,
Yeah. I wrote that on the back too. I put this way or something better is manifesting to bring me this truck. God's way, not my way. So I wrote that on it.
Awesome.
I'm going to just see myself driving it, playing my music, and holding my pocketbook. Thanks, Kevin. You're the best.
You're welcome. All right. Are everybody good for today? Or any last thing that anybody would like to share or question anybody would like to ask? Okie dokie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hopefully a few more people join us. I'm not as concerned about the numbers though. But again, just FYI for you guys, I'm not going to be sending out the daily reminder. Just know I'm here Monday through Friday. And
Kevin,
I'll tell you if that stops. Yes.
Sorry,
yes.
I'm just jumping in last minute here.
Yeah.
So I think I told you about the gentleman that came into my life.
Yeah.
And I want to believe it's a God sent thing in the sense that I have when I got my divorce, I did create a vision board, and I did create, I don't know, an ask, you would say, to the universe about the things that I wanted to see to manifest in my life after the divorce, like in my future. And one of the things that I had manifest, or what that I had put down, was that I would definitely want to be in a relationship again, and the type of man that I would want, and so, you know, I basically made my wish list of things that I wanted to ask for.
Yeah.
But I didn't really, you know, after that, I didn't really work on it, in the sense that I was busy with other things, like my kids, my job, and I just let it go. I didn't, you know, worry about it anymore. And in fact, my timetable that I told myself was, I have my 18-year-old who's graduating this year from high school. And then I have my 16 years old who will be going to college next year. And then my 14-year-old who will not finish high school for another, well, she's an 8th grader. She won't finish for 4 more years. Yeah. So I was thinking all of that would just have to wait until my kids are in college, type of thing. You know, in my mind, like, I don't want to get in a relationship. I don't, you know, this is what I want, but I'm going to wait till then. I'm focused on my kids and myself and my job and just being me. And so this person out of nowhere, I didn't, you know, he reached out to me through the meetup things that I had signed up. So he talked to me, and then we kind of exchanged emails, and then ultimately on the phone we spoke, and then ultimately we met and went for a walk. And he's just been, like, from the get-go, just laser beamed on wanting to have a relationship and wanting to basically ask me to marry him, and basically give him the red carpet everywhere. And which, you know, I know we're not supposed to be surprised and shocked, because obviously we asked, and, you know, and sometimes it comes in waves, and it comes really fast, and it comes not necessarily in our timetable. But I just want to, like, I mean, it's just, I'm still having a hard time with it, in the sense that it's too good to be true in my mind.
Yeah, and again, anything that we feel is too good to be true, that's because we have a personal sense of we have to qualify. And we don't have to qualify, but okay.
And so I mean, it's gotten to the point where, like, he's proposed, and he's, you know, like I said, he took me to Tiffany's, and he had me look at rings, and, you know, they didn't have the type of rings that he wanted me to get. He wanted me to get me, like, flawless, blah, 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 basically stuff that's $50,000-$60,000 type of rings. They didn't even have that in that particular Tiffany store. So they're sending some over. But anyways, I'm just like kind of almost scared in a way, not scared, but I'm just like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel scared. I'm just kind of wanting to be sure that, you know, before I say yes for sure, that this is really the right one, or this is who God wants me to be with, or the universe thinks is aligned to, you know, what I should be going for.
Sure.
And so, I mean, I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. I guess that's really the bottom line.
Yeah. And obviously God's where the answer is going to come from. But let me ask you a quick question. How do you two match up? Let's, you know, I'm going to forget about the outside stuff for now. How do you two match up spiritually?
We're pretty aligned, I think. You know, when we're together, it's pretty easy. And we seem to be aligned in a lot of our thinking.
Okay. Are there any particular, you know, any particular religion or any particular, what's my word for it? I'm trying to...
Faith or belief.
Well, faith or belief, yeah. And or, you know, traditions, things like that. In other words, are there anything that's going to pop up from either you or him that's going to be a surprise that you might have to deal with?
I don't think so, but okay. I think, I mean, I would say he's a Christian, because he keeps saying, he always references God when he speaks. Like, you know, God sent you to me, you know, I can't believe God has given, you know, has allowed me to find you. Sure. So he references the Lord a lot. So, but I haven't specifically asked him if you go to church, or if you,
sure,
if you but I mean, I would say that he's more of a Christian faith. I mean, he's not like Islamic or Buddhist or something like that, because he seems to reference more, I would say, Christian values of how you would speak about a spirit or a faith.
Yeah. If this man was living in your household and you were married today and your kids were 10 years younger than they are, well, yeah, is this a man that you would be happy with raising your children together with?
To be honest, I can't answer that. I don't know. I would say so, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I have enough. Yeah. I don't know enough to.
Yeah. If you get that piece about it, you sound calm and everything. And just I would just let him know, say, hey, look, you know what? Obviously you like me and I really like you. And I'm just being, I'm just taking my time, not because I want to push you off or oops. Hang on a second. That'll hopefully turn.
Oh, someone is in.
Yeah, they came off of mute. Oh, they're muted again. Okay. Not the relationship coach, that. I just pretty much would say, hey, look, hey, have you already asked God if it's the right person?
Yeah, I've been doing that. But I don't know how. I'm not sure if I'm asking the right way, because you always seem to know how to put it in a good way. And, I just keep telling him, Lord, I'm very grateful that you brought, such and such person into my life. I know I've, made the request that I would want to be with someone, blah, blah, blah. But I just want to make sure that this is really the person that, I know you brought him to me. I want to make sure that this is really, truly him that you want me to, be with for, my forever.
Yeah. And if this is the right person for me, I'm willing to move forward with whatever you want me to do. And if this is not the right person, bless that we'll go our separate ways peacefully, calmly, and joyfully. And I will find the right person when the time is right, or the right person will find me.
Yeah. So that's what I'll refine a little bit more to what you just said, but yeah.
It doesn't even words are important, but you could say something as simple as long as it's in faith versus faith. Hey, God,
I just keep asking him.
Just help me to know if this is the man. All right. If this is the one, let me know. I'm cool with it. I'm joyful and happy. I just want to make sure that this person is for my highest and best good. And by the way, don't worry about if you're for his highest and best good. That's his thing to figure out.
Okay. Well, he seems to be convinced that I am.
Yeah. Well, he's asking you to marry him.
I'm pretty calm and peaceful, and it's when I'm with him, it's pretty fun, and it's pretty good, and he just keeps emphasizing how great it is for us to be together. But I just want to make sure that if I'm going to go down the lane of forever, then that this is it. And so that's what I need to work on. I just keep asking, and I'm going to keep doing that. So
yeah. Well, you were married for a long time. I remember you sharing that. I've been married
for almost 30 years. Yeah.
And I'm almost 28 years and with the same person, intend to be forever. Even a forever relationship can have speed bumps, though. Of course.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Of course.
So it's the reason I was asking about the spiritual side of it is more than anything, if he knocks your beliefs, that just wouldn't be a good fit for anybody. And I don't think
that's true.
Right. That you can overcome most anything other than somebody shattering your self-esteem because they tell you you're dumb for what you think.
Right. That's true. Yeah. I wouldn't think I would be able to be with someone who didn't share the similar faith. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I grew up Catholic, but I don't necessarily think that the person has to be Catholic. I mean, I've gone to other Christians, many Christian churches, and so as long as it's a biblical kind of faith, then I think, in the sense that, it's not, a different, completely,
Sure. No, I get it.
I don't think I would be able to be with an Islamic person, for instance. Not that I have anything against Islam or anything, but I just don't understand their culture very well, or their thinking. So that would be a problematic situation, even though they believe in God or Buddhist, just because I don't understand that. And so that would be probably unaligned type of thing.
Yeah, then that's probably, you wouldn't end up with someone that's, not that it's somebody's better than another. It's just more
right. It's just more what you're used to.
You don't want to be doing this with each other on a daily basis, because we think we're going to change that other person for the future.
Yeah.
Right. So awesome. I think you're doing fine. I think you actually know what to do. Yeah, you would like a little bit more, almost like a louder shout of, yes, this is the one. But more often than not, you're going to get your answer through calm and peace than you are through some big sign, even for big things. Because God just wants you to trust in him, and just allow this thing to unfold however it unfolds. And if it's meant to change along the way, you're open to God's signals. So you're good.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just keep asking and making sure that he knows that I want to.
Maybe, I mean, you could keep asking, I suppose, but it sounds to me like everything's fitting. It's the whole, there's two things that you're concerned about, it sounds like. One, you had a different time frame in mind. Okay. That's number one. And then number two, the too good to be true piece of it. So again, that's a feeling of, at some level, you're not.
And also there's some other things, such as, he's retired, I'm still working.
Okay.
So there's obviously an age difference. I was married with my first relationship. I was 19 when I entered into that one.
Yeah.
As a college freshman, we went to college and graduate school together. So the relationship was a college one, and then it grew into other things and family and marriage and all. But this time it's a little bit different. I just turned 50, and now he's 60 something. Okay. So there's obviously an age difference, but it doesn't mean that we still get along, in the sense that we're able to talk. We're both highly educated, and we can talk about a lot of different things, and we're very aligned in our subject matters, and think highly of each other in terms of intelligence, of communication, and have similar interests in terms of what we want to spend our time doing. But obviously there's an age gap in the sense that one is much older and is retired. He just retired. He's 65. Okay. So, I just kind of, I mean, when I put my wish out there, I didn't really put requirements of age. I just wanted to make sure that I had someone who would treat me well and, make me feel a certain way.
Yeah. So and again, that's up to you to decide, right? If age is an issue or not. If you don't feel like it truly is an issue, then it's not gonna be. That's totally up to you. My mom, she's divorced, but she remarried. And when she did remarry, she married someone who is a bit older than her. And kind of a similar gap between what you're saying you are to this person.
Yeah, 15 years. Yeah.
And they stayed happily married until he did pass away. My mom's 70 now, 71 or 2. And
is she gonna remarry, or is she done?
and she did remarry.
Oh, okay.
And this person at this point, I don't know how much, this person is older than her too. Not by quite as big of a gap, but I'm kidding around in my own mind. I'm thinking, okay, how many people is my mom? I just don't see my mom. She's not being married kind of thing. The gap between being not married and getting married again will last 1 to 2 years for her. Maybe at least that's what traditionally, but it's when she was married to that person, Richard was his name. When she was married to Richard, I saw that things were good for the both of them. It was just one of those things that they had to deal, not at the beginning, it was towards the end, but they had to deal with Alzheimer's for a health issue for about 1.5 or 2 years at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
That they had a lot of good years. Well, they were all good years, so to speak, but they had a lot
Mm-hmm.
of years where they did a lot of things together and had a lot of fun. My mom used to work for the airlines and reservations, so she stayed with them long enough to get flight benefits. So they got to go travel and do that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've watched age gaps like what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
My own son is possibly going to marry somebody not quite that gap, but enough of a gap where my son's 22 and her oldest child is 13 or 14, if it happens. So,
Mm-hmm.
but she started early.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. I mean, I don't think that I honestly have never really. I mean, I don't really think that age is just a number for the most part. You know, I mean, I think society gets us thinking, and people
right.
judge. Oh, she's so much younger, and she's with him. What the heck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So people.
But you have to be true to yourself too, and understand if you can or can't handle the judgment.
Mm-hmm.
In my wife's scenario with her mom and her dad, they were in high school together. She was basically conceived before they were married, but they got married. But mom wasn't able to handle the way her family thought of her husband, and she started treating him bad too. And I mean, he got the short end of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they were, high school kids, but they were also two different races. I don't think my wife is actually a different race than I am. She's half Hispanic, half African American. Her
Mm-hmm.
dad is African American, her mom's Hispanic, and the Hispanic side of the family was probably more prejudiced than a lot of white people that I've ever seen against. It was just like, man, your family is pretty nasty to African Americans. So when she
it's
together
sad.
with you, but whatever. So what I'm getting at is, if you know your family was going to totally destroy this person and you didn't, then you kind of have to choose between your family or this person.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that my family is not. My family has pretty much, they don't really meddle into my personal business so much. I'm Black, and I've always my first marriage, my husband was white, so I have three biracial kids. My husband is Norwegian, my ex-husband, and then this guy is a white guy. So basically, I'm entered into another white marriage. The only difference is the fact that he's older.
Yeah.
That's really the biggest thing, I think, is more the age factor and concerns of health, and how that would look like if I'm just gonna finish raising my 3 kids and turn around and be a caregiver. And that's it.
Well, I'll tell you what, given the book we've been reading, and he should probably stay pretty healthy. As long as he keeps reading it and affirms to himself that he's going to be healthy, he will be.
Yeah. So I just don't want to feel like I'm finishing raising my 3 just to turn around and anytime, take care.
And this is for everybody. So anytime we say, I just don't want, we're better off not saying that. What we're better off is, but it is a way for us to pivot, because if we know what we don't want, we automatically know what we do want, which is the opposite of what we don't want. So instead of bothering to say what we don't want, just pivot immediately and go, what I really would like to have is a relationship with a man who and who remains healthy and strong, and we can, grow together. And, and when the time is right for us to move on to the next step, I pray for myself and for my spouse that when the time is right, it'll be easy, quick, and you know what I mean? But it doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing. It could be one day happy, having a great time. Next day, I mean, that's super unfortunate, but next day we're done, right? But we're still going to connect with each other after this life, I believe.
Right.
So
I agree.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to talk about it. I mean, I haven't really shared this with hardly anybody, so you know more probably than anybody.
Well, me and 9 other people.
Yes, you and 9 other people. So thank you everybody for listening. It is kind of it's interesting. It is in a way of private matter, but I feel comfortable sharing with you guys. So I feel like this is a forum for, you know, I don't know, for us to be able to share the things that we that are near, you know, important to us that we're wrestling with. So yeah. So thank you everybody for letting me have this time with Kevin.
You guys are all totally welcome and glad that you were here today. And probably some other people needed to hear what you said. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.